Alright, let's start reversing a step file. So we get this body, do a recompute, and it's pretty standard. There could be other features in here, pockets, other things. We're just going to focus on these two areas. Something you should note is down here in the corner, your pre-selected things. There's some valuable information, like when I click on this vertex here, I can see that it's the first value for vertex 17, 0, and then my y value. Here it would be y0, it's the middle number. Z0 is the last number, right over here. X0 obviously, and then a y negative value, and then Z0. But I want to know this number. It's 9525. I'm going to remember that for later when we're doing our toolpath. So let's get started with the top view. We'll go into the draft workbench. I want to click on the body. It's highlighted. Come over here and create a shape 2D from it. And we got a nice shape 2D. I'll go ahead and click on the body. Hit the space bar on my keyboard to make it hidden. Sweet. That looks like the outline of it. Space bar again. That is the outline. So we'll take this 2D shape. I want to create 3 sketches. 1, 2, 3. Nice. We'll close this or hide this shape 2D. Now what I want to do is I want to get these sketches workable for my needs. The main rectangle, we're going to hide this one, this one. We're going to right click and edit. I want this main rectangle. So what I'm going to do is find out the length of it. I want to be in the sketch workbench, by the way, so I'm going to change that real quick. Sketcher. Clear my reports. I want to know the length, so I'll grab the length from this point to this. It'll be 10 inches. 10 inches, okay. I'm going to grab the height. 4.5. Okay. Cool. So basically I'm going to delete all this and recreate that rectangle and constrain it. Right click, just start deleting, clicking and deleting. Delete, delete. Be happy about it. Just delete it all. I'm going to create a rectangle. I'm going to try to, there we go, put it at that point. I'm going to go ahead and constrain it. Make that line 10 inches. 10. Make this other line 4.5. Like the other. Still got 2 degrees of freedom. Right click, get rid of our constraint thingy. I'm going to do a coincidence restraint with this point to that. There, we're restrained, closed. Alright, we'll go ahead and hide that sketch. Get this sketch ready to edit. Edit it. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. Or 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 that. Alright. Real quick and dirty how to constrain this. I'm actually going to extend this line out. And I'm going to extend this line out so that I have lead in and lead out for my tooling. So the first thing I want to constrain is my radius, which I don't need to know because it's going off what it's the 2D line. So I'll click OK. I want to constrain this horizontal. I'm going to constrain the angle. Alright. Right click, get rid of that angle constraint. I'm going to take this and pull it up. I'm going to take this, pull it out. I'm going to go ahead and constrain the rest of my circle so it don't move. I want it to be our anchoring point. So I'll use horizontal constraint for that point to there. Okay. Restrain that point to there. Right. Let's do a vertical constraint. Same 2 points. Okay. Same 2 points. Okay. Now I want to constrain this point here to there. And it's going to be a 1/4 of an inch. Oh, come on, zoom out, zoom in. And then I want to constrain vertically this point to here. It's going to be 2.5. 4 degrees of freedom. We'll go ahead and do a coincidence point restraint here. I'm going to connect this to this firm point. Then I want to connect this to this one. We are now fully constrained. Cool. Sketch 2. Go ahead and hide this sketch. We want to do the same thing. We want to delete all this stuff except for this line here. Then when we're done, I'm going to take this sketch and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to call it left. I'll copy, paste, and this one I'm going to call left 1. But I'm going to edit it real quick to show you what I did. I made a line, another line, constrained them horizontally and vertically. Horizontally, constrained it vertically. Then I did a coincidence point between this and this. Between this point and this point. Zoom in here. Still with my point restraint, I'm going to restrain that point to that one. Boom, it brings them together. Click close. So that's how we got that shape. From that shape, which overhangs our original 2D drawing, but does not go here. This is where we get our boundary and stuff for the feature area we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and close this and go on to where I've already done the other side, the right side. So we've got the left and the right. So you got the left and the left. This is where the magic happens. This is where we're going to use our PathWorkbench to use that feature area tool So switch to the PathWorkbench, and I'm going to click on left, and then I'm going to click on this, and that created a feature area for me from that line. What I want to do with that feature area is I want to offset it. So I click on it, come down to offset. The tool is going to be a 1/2 inch, so I'm going to go half of that, which is 1/4. I know I want to do 6 passes. I want to step over it 200 thou, and that is a feature area. Just like Real Thunder showed us in the non-looping edge contour. I'll link to it. It's in the forums. So we're going to create another feature area, and this is where Real Thunder really opened my eyes. If I select the first feature area I created, hit Control, select my other drawing, my other sketch, then click the feature area to it, does this magical thing here. So if I go down to feature area 1 that it just created with my feature area tool, I've got some things up here that are really interesting. We'll do a difference, and we'll do coplanar to none. See how it's taken away some stuff, and then we'll do an explode to true. When you click on here, notice how I got rid of all those lines. That's what we're left with. Well, now if I go back to operations and change that to intersect, it's going to give me exactly what I want. That is my feature area path. Now I could have done a similar thing by taking my sketch and going into the draft workbench, creating a 2D out of it and offsetting and making several offsets of it. But this isn't a tool path. This is just a features area path that will allow us to use. If you right click here or go up to path here, it'll allow you to use the supplemental command from shape, and that will give you a tool path. I'm not going to use that supplemental command. I'm going to show you a script that I use, real simple. But let's go ahead and do the same thing to the right side. Go ahead and hide this feature area. So now for the right side, I'll go over here, click on feature area, go to my offsets again, because now we need to do our little offset dealio. It's 1/4 inch. I'm going to do 6 passes, step over of 0.2. Awesome, awesome, awesome. That's what I want, a feature area just like that. So now I want to use these two, the feature area that was created and this sketch that we did, that we took from this shape and edit it for lead in and lead out. So I click on feature area 2, hold the control key down, click on that sketch I want, and do a create feature. That is awesome, how it just gets rid of that. Nice little boundary box type thing going on there. So we got feature area 3. We're going to do the same thing that we did For the other one, we're going to do a difference. And you see what the difference is now. Do a none. And we're going to explode to true. Great, got rid of those lines. Very last step, we'll do an intersection. And there's our feature area 3. And this is the time to use our handy dandy scripting tools that I will provide in the forum where the link to this video is. To create a path. So let's create a path for our first feature here. What I'm going to do is run a handy dandy little script. Called wire to path. You can name it whatever you want. That's what I called it. If you read here, I want to change this feature area 3 to the name of the feature I want. Here it says feature area 1. So we'll do 1. When I click play, it will create a path here for this feature area 1. Notice I also need to change this vertex, which I believe is going to be 21. Let's check. This is how I check again. Pay attention to this lower left-hand corner. I do believe I wanted to start here at vertex 22. Notice down in the corner it says feature area 1, vertex 22 when I hover on that. So I want to change that. Notice it says -1, so it was vertex 22. I want to put 21 in there because in Python lists go from 0 on, which is 0 would be 1. So if you didn't know that, that's why we're doing that. So you hit play. There's my path. Let's look in our toot. There's our tool path. We'll do a recompute. We'll hide this. See our toolpath starts here, goes along here, and it ends coming out here. Notice it's not moving up or anything. I'll show you how to fix that here in a little bit. Let's do another one for feature area 3. So let's go back to our macro. Change this to 3. I want to get the vertex where I want to start. So we'll come over here. Highlight that. I do believe I want to start here. Yes, it says vertex 1, feature area 3, vertex 1 down on the left. So I'm going to change that to vertex 0. Double check, vertex 0, path area, feature path 3, feature area, I'm sorry. So we're going to hit play, create a new path. We'll click on this. Looky there, we got a new toolpath. Great, we got 2 toolpaths now for these feature areas that we created. They don't step down, they're just a simple 2D toolpath. And I want to edit them. But when I click here, and right click, I can't do an inspect G code. I go up here to path, I can't inspect G code. Wow, what will I do? Well, I'm going to use another macro. So let's close this macro. Right to path. We're going to open G code to file. I'm going to change this username to where I want it to go. And I'm going to call it path. And what this code basically does is take whatever app active document path name, in this case my path, and we're going to have my path 001, and dumps all the G code to a file. And I do that so I can edit it with an external editor. So you hit play, and it takes it out to an external editor. And that is home. FreeCAD macros FeatureArea tutorial path. It just created this. Now these two files here are the ones that I generated before and already edited, and I'll show you why when I open this. So you look at the code, and when they originally generated, it gave me this code. I'm not going to want this, so I'm going to get rid of it. Then I don't want all these Z's, so I'll do like I'll highlight that and do a find and replace with nothing, replace all, get rid of them. Same thing with the K. I don't want this K, so I'll do a find and replace with the K. And I'll clean this code up. I'll get rid of this stuff here. I don't need it. I'll change all my G0s to G1s. I'll turn this back to a G0, and I'll add a G0 here for an exiting path in the Z. And your code will end up looking like this. Oh, you dirty, you dirty. We'll do new window. So your path, after you edit it, will look like this. Your G code. Then what you're going to want to do after you've created G code for my path, you'll change this to my path 001. You change this name so you don't overwrite this path here, and you'll run the code again. And after you've ran that code, we'll use another set of code to make 2 more paths. And the reason we do this is these paths do not have our changes, do not have the changed code that we just did. So we're going to go and use this macro G code to path feature. And I found these G code snippets on the path scripting page. The wiki. This one says paste your G code here, so we'll go out and see your path 1 there. We'll take all that G code, do a copy, put it right here, paste, and then we'll run it. My path 2, my path 1, hide, my path 2 will recompute. Notice now we have an exit. Before it was just coming out here, but since we edited the code and we have a whole new path separate from the very first original, and if we hide it, hide this one as well, notice our original path just went here. This one comes out, and I do that because later on when we do our drop down code, it needs to retract every time. So we'll go ahead and get rid of this, and we'll do the this path. Like I said, we ran that path to G-code file and created path 2 and edited it. So I'm going to copy, paste it in here. Sweet. Go ahead and run it, and it will create path 3. Do a refresh. You can see we've got our exit after our last move. We'll go ahead and close the G-code to path feature. Now with our 2 new paths, we want to do our Z step downs. And to do that, we're going to use one last piece of code. So we used wire to path to create our original paths. G-code to file. Edit our G-code to our liking. Turn those G-codes into new paths. And with those new paths, we're going to create a step down of that pattern. It's going to step down for us automatically every time. So we'll go ahead and edit this. Not too much needs changed in here, really. Earlier I told you need to remember that 9.525, and we got that from the body. When we look down here in our lower left hand corner, when we clicked on this, that Z value, that last number is minus 9.525 on vertex 3 there. So I put that in here to remind myself, when you get the pop-up box, the input box, you'll get 2 of them. It asks you your Z depth, and I just put that there so I knew how deep to go. And that is an arbitrary number as well. The important thing here is this line here. We're going to want to change this to path 1. I'm sorry, path 2. That would be this path. Go ahead and hide this one real quick to show you. That's this path here, path 2. We're going to be working with it. And I need to know the starting G-code for that, and I need to know the starting G-code for that. So what I'm going to do is, down in the command line here, I'm going to do G-code equals app dot, click enter for active document, dot, my. So we're going to want my path 2. We're going to want dot path because we want the path of that object. We're going to do 2 G code and end brackets. That is shift number 9, shift 0. Now we're going to do the same command. We're going to change this to G code 1. And we're going to change this to my path 3. Hit enter. So type G code and G code 1. We're going to need this very first number out of our G code. And you could have got that out of your text file for path. The first path we created with the G code to path. What that number is where our X will start every time it does the loop through of our path. And then we'll want it down here. This is our very last pass at our final Z depth. What this code in here does is just loops and drops down our Z depth each time until we finally get to our where we have a remainder. That's done here, where we figure out our remainder. We've got a remainder, so it goes so many times and then does our very last pass here. But we got to change that first value and that value. Then I got some hidden gems I'll show you here down here in a minute, but just to recap, I changed this value and this value to our starting value there. We're going to do toolpath for 3. Now once I hit play, we're going to create, it's going to end up creating a toolpath called MyPath04, and you're going to be hopefully amazed at what it does for you, because it's really cool. Hit play. We're going to put in 9.525.635. Hit OK. Looky here. MyPath4. Let's see what it looks like. Holy cow! What is that? It looks like a step down. Because it is. This right here is not part of the G code. It's just part of FreeCAD. So don't worry about this red line. The G code doesn't wrap it there. Your machine should be way out here, and it's going to wrap it over to your start first, and then. So we're going to do a recompute, and go ahead and come over here and do an edit. We want path 3 this time, so our P3 variable, change that to 3. We could scroll up here and see our path that we needed from G code 1. Copy that. Change this value. Control V. And change this value. Control V. Hit play, and we should have a 5th toolpath. 9.525.635. 5th toolpath. There it is. Looky there. Hit refresh. So if we hide this toolpath and hide this toolpath, these were the original 2 toolpaths we had created the path 4 and 5 from. We can hide them. We don't need these anymore because those were the original ones that we edited to get these with our lead outs. And these are the ones that we created with our path feature step down macro. Awesome. That's all good and well, but I can't run the simulator. I've got no job. What am I ever to do? Well, in the feature or the path feature step down macro here, I have hidden some clues at the very bottom. Add it to job, add tool controller property. So this is how we're going to do that. We're going to click on sketch. There's our original sketch, our bounding box of our block, our body here. See? We're going to click on sketch, and we're going to click on job. No sketches selected. Ooh, there's nothing there. I got to click cancel. Come to my scripts. Change my directory up 1. Now I can choose a template 1. Sweet. So we're going to choose that sketch there. My template 1 has a 1/2 inch end mill in it, so I'm going to click OK. It creates a boundary around that original block. We're going to do create box. We're going to call this height 2 inches. And then we're going to click on that box it just created. We're going to click this corner, vertex 3 of stock 001. Set origins is now unghosted, so we're going to do that, a set origin. Click OK. Say, oh great Corey, you created a job, but how am I going to get my path 5 and my path 4 in there? Right click on it, it doesn't say anything. I don't know, these link actions, I don't know what those do. Copy selected, I don't know about that. I don't know about none of that. What I do know about is this little information I left you here. So now that we got a job, we can add our path to that job using this little command here, path script utils, add to job. So I'll paste it, copy and paste, make sure I give it the right path name here, my app active document, path 004, and mathematically it'll show up in our operations. So I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to click in my command window, hit arrow up for last command, backspace 5. We just added our 2 toolpaths to my path, or my job. Hit refresh. Now those are added to our job operation. We now have access to give it a tool controller and select this tool. And this is how we do this with this command right here. So we'll do a copy again and a paste. Make sure we do my path 004. Change that, hit enter. Same command, just change the 4 to a 5. 5, hit enter. Alright, what that did was put this thing called a tool controller in our property base for our operation. So I can select a tool, and we're going to select the 1/2 inch. Click OK. We'll go to path 5 here. Select 1/2 inch. Alright. Look pretty spiff dandy there. Why don't we run the simulator? See what it really does. I'm going to take this job and I'm going to recompute, and then I'm going to hide it by hitting the space bar. So now we see nothing. Ooh, I want to hide that sketch too. I don't want to see it. We're going to click on the simulator. It's going to ask me for what I want to simulate, my path 4, my path 5. Those are the operations of my job. So yeah, that's what I'm going to simulate. Here we go. So you see this little cut right here? That is not part of the G code. If you were to post this to a machine, that's not going to happen. The reason I know this is because when this tool is done, it comes over here For some odd reason in these paths, and it starts from x0, y0, z0, um, and that's not where you're going to be when you come out of here. When you come out of here, your very last move, you're going to be up and out, well above your part. It's going to move over. Um, it's just a quirk. I don't quite know what it is, how something I set in the job or whatever, but it's not actually there in the G code. This cut is not there. I'm going to click OK. Voila. Now, let's take this body that we originally started with, our original step file, hit the space bar. There it is. There it is with our material. We can come down here and hide that material. There it is. So I will provide the 4 macros I use for doing fun things that you may not be able to do when the menu is not available. You can look over the code, use it, don't use it. I will provide this very last file. And I will provide the step file. And you guys can see if you can get a grasp on this feature area path and on making paths. Hope you enjoy this tutorial.